Hello, Superboy Beyond fans. Welcome back. It's Tom and Chris, your typical Superboy geeks here for you. We're going to do another commentary today. We're going back to season 3 with one of our favorite episodes of season 3, Mind Games, written by the great Sherman Howard.
Or Howard Sherman.
Well, he's actually going back to his birth name, which is Howard Sherman, but he's still Sherman Howard to us.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into this in a few seconds. Just remember, guys, this is not your typical reaction video. There's going to be no clips or audio from the episode in the episode. There is going to be a very highly filtered version right up there, just so you can keep in track with us. We're going to count you in with a 3, 2, 1 play. So let's get set for 3, 2, 1, play.
So yeah, this is just a great episode. It's one of those ones that I don't know if it was actually written to save money, but it probably did save them a fair bit of money since it's just 2 actors. Well, 3 if you include Lana, but she's kind of put aside for a while.
Yeah.
It must have been quite a low budget episode. And it's just, what a chance to develop the characters, to delve deep into their psyches, learn a little bit more about Luthor, learn a little bit more about Superboy. They learn a little bit more about each other,
Yeah. So yes, it is a bottle episode, but it is, as I've said before, a lot of these stuff in seasons 3 and 4 were designed as, more psychological, more introspective. And this is definitely one of them.
It's good as well, because this is the kind of episode that genuinely you could do this as a stage production. Like, it's very theater. You could just, literally, it's 3 sets. You've got the room the part that Lana's trapped in. You've got the main cave, and then I don't know, the exit at the end. But it wouldn't even be a particularly expensive stage production, because Superboy's, it's not like you've got to get him on wires. There's not much in the way of visual effects.
Maybe the most visual effects that you have is the X-ray vision and the heat vision scenes, and maybe the tunneling scene, which is at the end of the episode.
But I genuinely, I would watch a stage version of this episode. I think it could be pretty fun. It's a shame that there's no Superboy fans that have the know-how to do that, because I don't know. I think that'd be fun. We've had a lot of fan films over the years. I don't think we've had many fan theater productions.
Yeah. And this is one of the episodes where the green overlay on the kryptonite doesn't look as bad as it does in a lot of the episodes.
Yeah, it looks good in this, and I appreciate that they've actually, I don't know, I guess they've just got a green light bulb or something, or it's just a regular light and they've got a green gel over it. But it helps. It brings the whole scene together. Especially when you consider that, the kryptonite in this show was basically just white. The green was added later. They had to make it white because they wanted it to look like it was glowing.
Yeah.
Although season 1 had actual green kryptonite.
No. The season 1 stuff was...
I could have sworn
it was crystalline.
It was still crystalline, but I could have sworn it was actually green, because you don't always see it glow in the first episode.
You don't see it glow at all in the first episode.
So it would have to have actually been green, which, yeah. I've always liked that shot, the POV shot, dropping the kryptonite down. It's a very well directed episode, in my opinion.
Yeah, Hugh Martin does an absolutely fantastic job directing this.
Especially when you consider, like, this must have been a very small set. It must have been very claustrophobic. So your choice of camera angles would have been extremely limited. So the fact that there's so much variety of camera angle, you can just tell that, they knew they had to get a director that was going to put in the extra effort, because this could have been a very boring episode if someone phoned it in.
Yeah.
And the cave set looks good. I mean, I assume that it's a set and not, a location that they actually went to. I'm assuming it's not a real cave because they had to destroy parts of it, and I'm pretty sure health and safety would have a field day if they found out about that.
Yeah, I'm sure that there are, mine/cave sets all over.
Oh yeah. Plus, I mean, it wouldn't have cost them that much to make some fake rocks and stuff. It's probably all just very simple stuff.
Yep.
But I mean, I've seen a lot of cave sets that look like utter garbage. Like a lot of them, even in Star Trek, I don't think look good. Like the cave sets in Star Trek often look pretty shockingly bad at times. This looks like an actual cave, and maybe it's just simply because the quality is so low on the DVD. And there are parts that look slightly faker than others, but overall, I think they did a really good job.
Mm.
I love this scene. How much do I hate thee? Let me count the ways. And yeah, Sherman
Lex is
Howard as
just going
Luthor,
overboard with this.
he really is. Like, he's just gleefully evil in this scene.
Now, one could say that maybe that's because of the lack of oxygen.
Probably partly that he knows there's a chance they're not going to get out of there, so he figures, I'm going to enjoy my last moments. But also he wants Superboy to kill him because it would prove him right, in a way.
Yeah.
And that's probably one of the closest times that Superboy's actually come to killing him. Probably the other would have been the incident that In Roads Not Taken actually did lead to Luthor's death.
Yeah. And honestly, teenage me back when this episode first aired, that moment where he's got the shovel over his head and he screams at him, "Murder me," and you see that it coming down, I almost thought he did it.
Would have been an interesting episode if this is how they got rid of Luthor. Would have cast a pretty dark shadow over every episode that comes after.
Yeah.
But it might have been interesting, the whole of season 4 could have been the Earth turning into like a Roads Not Taken Part 1 type thing. But by the end, he saves it. But I guess to do that, it would have had to be a lot more serialized. I don't know. I just like it when shows take big swings, even if they don't always work out. Only thing with that, we do know that Lena was the only person he loved, so killing her kittens was a little bit. But I guess we haven't got to the episode with Lena yet, so.
Unless, of course, the whole thing with where he says I killed her kittens is just, him saying he did that, but he didn't.
I mean, he has no reason to lie at the moment. He thinks he's probably going to die in this cave with Superboy, so.
Well, Lex, even since season 1, he's been known for lying. I mean, that whole scene where he says, "Oh, rich father," that turns out to be a lie. So maybe he's lying about the killing of the kittens.
Although I do believe that at the time in season 1, that was Luthor's backstory, that he was very wealthy.
Yeah.
Obviously, there was a lot of retcons with this show. I imagine the killing his sister's kittens was one of those retcons. But, I'm fine with it because the episode with Lena is one of the best of the show.
Yeah.
J.M. DeMatteis just knocks it out of the park with that script. I like that they set up this early, that this is a lead mine, but we don't know that yet. It's a very well written episode.
Yep.
This is probably my favorite scene. Just this little heart to heart.
This is the kind of thing you would see, if they had established Lex as his best friend when they were kids, like if they were going back to the Silver Age continuity. And I think that's the way Sherman Howard wrote it.
I am honestly surprised that that's not something they did later, like in No Line Enemy. I'm surprised they didn't say that Lex actually grew up in Smallville or something, because it would have been easy enough.
The only time we've gotten a reference to something like that was from Road's Not Taken with the Sovereign.
Yeah, because Lana says you've always hated him ever since we were kids or something like that.
Yep.
Oh, so maybe it is. Maybe this Lex did grow up in Smallville. Who knows? That might have been an interesting story for the tie-in comic, but obviously that never happened.
Yep.
Unless it did, and it's one of the later ones I've not read. I do think Stacey gives a good performance in this episode as well. I know she's not the focus of this one, but she does
At
a good
least
job.
she's not the damsel in distress here.
Yeah, I mean, she's not the one that saves them in the end, but she gives it a damn good shot. Although I'm sure part of it was just she wanted to get out of there. And I do still laugh at the image that Darla's just waiting in the car outside, listening to the radio.
Maybe reading the newspaper.
Yeah. Maybe
Although
checking her watch every
probably
now and then. Like, where the hell is he? He said he'd be 5 minutes. It's been 3 hours. Who knows? Maybe this whole episode takes place in real time. Maybe they were only in there for about half an hour, so she had no reason to come check on them. Does make sense that Superboy would kind of wish that he had that freedom to compromise, because as a superhero with his level of power, he can't afford to do that. You know.
Yeah, with his moral code, he's got to fight the good fight. He's got to do everything by the book, so to speak.
Yeah. But also just for the general public, you know, if he turns opinion against him by compromising his values a bit too often, you know, look what happened when he killed Lex Luthor.
Mm.
So yeah, it's a nice nice line, that. Well, and here we go. The solution. There we go. And I like how out of breath they are now. Like, it's clear that they are running out of oxygen.
Yeah.
Although Superboy would probably live significantly longer than Luthor. I imagine he doesn't need quite as much oxygen.
Yeah, but you got to remember his body is also affected by the kryptonite. So
True, but I mean, it's enough that his powers aren't completely gone. I imagine it'd be enough that he would still live a fair amount longer than Luthor. Another great line. I wish they had just a little bit more money for this show, because when he moves his head but the heat vision stays exactly where it was, it always takes me out of the moment. Maybe I'm just a stickler for stuff like that. I wish that they'd actually match the movement a little bit better. But I'm fairly sure they had that problem on Lois and Clark as well, so maybe the extra money wouldn't have helped. It's funny because this episode, you could almost use this as like the first episode in like a Luthor redemption arc. It's just almost a shame that they never actually went in that direction, because this could have been an interesting way to take the character. And I do like that shot when he smashes through the wall and spinning through the ground. I know it's not the greatest visual effect in the world, but it works just fine.
it's a lot better than some of the stuff we've gotten modern with CGI.
True. Although, you know, with television, I know I'm being a bit too picky with the visual effects. Even now, you know. You look at something like the current generation of Star Trek shows, like the visual effects are amazing, but not all the time. At the end of the day, though, it's television. We've got to cut them some slack, haven't we?
Yep.
Yeah, genuinely, this could have been the start of a redemption arc, but guess it wasn't to be. But yeah, the glowing effect on the kryptonite does look pretty good on this episode.
Yeah.
Yes, you will. It's one of those things where I imagine even like 10, 20 years later, that's probably one of those decisions that Luthor's going to look back on and go, why the hell didn't I just kill him? Like, he's regretting that decision for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Great episode. Just a perfect example of just how to take what is essentially a bottle episode and just elevate it completely.
Yes.
I don't have a bad word to say about this episode. I like everything about it. This is one of those ones that I would say is a solid 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I would agree with you on it. The only problem that I have with it is when they melt the lead, it's too quick that it sort of solidifies.
True. Maybe they needed an extra shot where they say, "Can you come use your freeze breath for a second? I need to,
Yeah.
But
But overall, this is a great episode.
Solid 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I think this is one of the few times we've actually given a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, and this is on the season 3 scale because this is, as far as I'm concerned, one of the best episodes of the season, if not the whole show.
Yeah.
So yeah, I imagine Roads Not Taken will probably get a 9 to a 9.5, but we'll see when we get there. Yeah. Really, really
Solid
great episode.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else to say about it. I feel like we talked most of the way through it. There was a few silent moments where I caught myself just watching the episode and enjoying it.
Same here.
But, yeah, just a really fun episode. Is this one of your favorites at home? If not, what do you think? Which episodes would you put above this one? Just out of interest. Yeah, thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you next week where we'll be doing. Is it Who is Superboy we're doing next? Yes.
Yes.
Which is the last clip show. So it's the last one you've got to watch us do until we start over from season 1. And yeah, but we'll get there when we get there.
Yep.
Thank you again. See you next week. Goodbye.